Horror Coast to Coast is a movie review podcast featuring strong language, horror film spoilers, and discussions of violence, gore, and disturbing subject matter. Listener discretion is advised.
Horror Coast to Coast.
Welcome to Horror Coast to Coast, where we review horror movies from opposite sides of the continental U.S. Locked inside a basement in Massachusetts, I'm Brian.
And here in California, also wanting to know, Jesus, what the fuck? I'm Michelle.
This week we're talking about The Black Phone from 2022, written and directed by Scott Derrickson and based on a story by Joe Hill.
Finney Shaw is a shy but clever 13-year-old boy who's being held in a soundproof basement by a sadistic masked killer. When a disconnected phone on the wall starts to ring, he soon discovers that he can hear the voices of murderers' previous victims, and they are dead set on making sure that what happened to them doesn't happen to Finney. Pretty good. Pretty accurate.
You recently watched this and the sequel, right?
I think I watched this like 6 months ago, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and then I went to the theater and saw the second one.
Because I haven't seen this since like June when it came out to like streaming, and then I still haven't seen the sequel. So
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
I'll be seeing it soon.
Okay. Good. I really liked it. So yeah, I heard about this movie during the pandemic, actually. I think it was in like 2021 when it came out. And I heard a lot of good things, and it was just one of those movies I just didn't get around to watching. And then I think I might have seen a trailer for the second one coming up, and then that kind of piqued my curiosity. So I was like, let's watch it. I've heard good things about it, and so why not?
Yeah, so I heard good things about it back when it came out, and I saw it and I liked it. But I was like, that movie did not need a sequel. It ended very definitively, and not everything needs a sequel. But I've heard nothing but good things about the sequel, so I
Yeah.
guess I'm looking forward to it.
No, absolutely. Definitely. Like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think you'll enjoy it.
All right, so our movie begins in 1978 in North Denver, and we're introduced to our protagonist Finney during a baseball game.
Yeah.
And after it's done, we see some good sportsmanship from the star player Bruce, who tells him his arm is mint, and he almost got him.
Yeah, and you see that moment where you think it's gonna be, haha, you suck, and he's like, no, you did a great job. So it's kind of like a nice opening where the kids are like supporting each other.
Yeah. So you're immediately like, wow, this Bruce, what a nice guy. And
Yeah.
he's biking along and the mood's all cheery and all the girls are like, hi, Bruce. And then a black van rolls up and we fade to black
Yeah.
very ominously.
Yeah.
So this is directed by Scott Derrickson, who I only just learned directed the Sinister movies, also starring Ethan Hawke. Have you seen Sinister or its sequel?
I didn't know he directed the Sinister movies, but I did see Sinister. I didn't see the sequel, but I saw the first one. And I remember it being pretty good, but I think that at the time it had come out, it was a little overshadowed by the other word that means the same thing.
Insidious?
Insidious, thank you. Yeah, and I
It's
think
so much better than Insidious.
I think so too, and I remember thinking that. But for some reason Insidious, I guess, got more attention, maybe?
Because it was James Wan, and this guy was like unknown.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense. Yeah, I remember liking Sinister a lot. I did not see the second one, though.
So Sinister was ranked as the scariest movie, I think, of all time by like some magazine.
Whoa,
And I have
really?
to say, it's one of the only like movies of the past decade or so that I've actually found scary. And I didn't watch it in a cinema or anything, just like watching it alone in my room. I actually thought it was pretty scary.
Wow, it was ranked the scariest movie of all time? Huh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it, I think, in a couple of years, so all I remember is Ethan Hawke goes into the attic of this house they moved into, and he finds all the tapes, and
Yeah.
It leads to some, like, creepy shit about the property and stuff, and yeah, I remember really liking it. I think I like it in hindsight, I like the ideas that it presented better than, like, The Further and all that stuff from Insidious. Because at first it was fine, but then
Mhm.
those movies sort of just kept going, I think,
Yeah.
you know? I think I saw the second one and I was like, "This is a movie that didn't need a sequel," because the first one I thought was effective on its own. But yeah, I guess James Wan figured he could keep
Yeah, I
going and
haven't seen any of the sequels to that. I didn't think that needed a sequel either.
yeah. And at the same time, Patrick, whose name I can't remember, was also doing the Conjuring movies. So he was
Oh,
doing
Patrick Wilson,
yeah,
yeah.
Patrick Wilson, he was doing the Conjuring movies at the same time as these Sinister movies that just kept coming out.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I also associate those 2 franchises with each other. Um, and
I know,
then
it's like the MC Wu of Wan movies, the Wan CU.
yeah, that's oh man. Now I feel kind of bad that I let myself get blindsided by the glitz and glam of of James Wan, and I didn't, like, keep my attention focused on this awesome movie. Um, okay, yeah, so I really liked Sinister, and so, not surprised that this has a similar style, I think, now that I think about it,
Yeah, knowing that he directed it going into my second watching, I really got those vibes. It's like, yeah, he's really good at, like, making this ominous, like, overbearing tone, and
yeah.
he's also really good at just, directing his actors to give, like, genuine performances. Because a lot
Yeah.
of movies that feel similar to this or Sinister, they don't have the emotional weight that I felt from this.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking, man, they should have got this guy to direct It 2017, because this movie's, like, strengths are everything I felt It 2017 was lacking.
You know
Like, that felt too glitzy and Stranger Thingsy, and it needed this dark, impending atmosphere, and, like, the way this movie, like, it shows the adults don't give a shit, which is a big theme in It, I thought they did a much better job in this.
yeah.
And I like these kids better.
Oh, 100%. So, I can't speak on liking the kids better because I actually never saw the 2017 It. It is one of those movies for me that there's just something I don't know, it has a special place, I think, in my childhood, and it was one of those things that was like, "This is the top scariest movie for me as a kid." Looking back on it, it's
Yeah.
obviously not, but as a kid, it was, and I even think back to some of the seminal moments of, like, we all float down here and stuff like that, and I'm like, "Yeah, that was really fucking scary," but if that was done again, I think it would be cheesy. And so I kinda shied away from it, and even though I know, like, Bill Skarsgård took the Pennywise character and just, like, took it to new heights, I just never felt that drawn to a revisit of that movie. I don't know what it was, it just never really pulled me back in. So I never watched it. I probably should though, but I do like the kids in this movie a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a great job. Alright, so after we get our fade to black, we get introduced to Finney's family. He's got his sister Gwenny and his abusive father, Terrence. Did you get far enough in Lost to meet Faraday?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, I didn't recognize him the first time I watched this, I think, but yeah, I really liked Faraday in Lost, and his performance in this is so good.
Yeah, it's different in the second one, and I don't know, I had mixed feelings about it, you can read my letterboxd review after you watch the movie. But, I think he did a really awesome, like, he was awful, like, he was just so, like, "Get it together, man, I understand that you're grieving, but you're, like, drinking and hitting your kids, like, come on," So because I had that response to him, I didn't it kind of, like, it was the last thought on my mind, like, "Oh, he's doing a very good job, and I this is very effective." But, I
Yeah,
did.
to me, a lot of the time, these like alcoholic, abusive dads in horror movies are done in a very like one dimensional way, and they're just not as believable as he played it.
Yeah. It was great, and also, I will say right now that I think Gwen is the standout character of this movie.
Yes.
Um, and I think there's something about the way she is just, like, fiery, but also vulnerable. Like, she's still a kid, she still needs her brother to look out for her even though she's looking out for her brother and her father. There's just she just that actress just played the shit out of this role so well, I was so impressed with her. And then the character was really well written, well done. But, yeah, I was very taken with her as I was watching the movie.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about her role in between the my two watchings. I mostly remembered the stuff with Finn in the basement, so I kind of forgot. So we find out she has visions of all these kids that are disappearing, and her father very much dislikes this.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a hint that the mom had something similar going on and that he had
Oh, it's more than a
been
little bit of a hint. It's
he
pretty explicit.
they get into it more in the second movie, so I don't remember how much of it was revealed in the first. I thought it was just a little
Oh,
bit.
it's very explicit. It's like
Okay,
you he beats her and he says, "You don't see things that aren't there like your mom. You don't have dreams that come true like your mom," and he's beating her.
right,
And so
okay,
yeah, he's very explicit about
okay.
like I'm mad because this, and he explains at some point, I think, or at least alludes to like that's why she killed herself, right?
And then you kinda get the sense that maybe he's afraid because, the story in his mind is that the mom committed suicide because these visions drove her to it, but you don't even really know if the visions drove her to it or if his response to her having visions, like, caused her to be depressed or something. I mean, he didn't seem like he was a very I don't know if maybe the the turning point for him came after she passed away or if he was kind of the skeptical voice leading up to it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really know how much of a role he played in it. I assume the way it unfolds, I assume everything was fine and dandy, and then she commits suicide, and he thinks, "Okay, it's because she was having these visions, and I don't want that to happen to my daughter." But I mean, that's a really, um I give a lot of credit for that kind of nuance, you know? It was really, thought-provoking to think, like, what is it that is actually upsetting him? Is he afraid? Is he just a mean guy? Is he you know what I mean? Like, you ask all these questions, you think about all of these ideas as you're watching it, which I thought was just so impressive.
Yeah. So if living with him wasn't bad enough, then he also gets ruthlessly bullied at school.
Right.
The head bully's name is Moose, but fortunately, he's got the super cool kid Robin,
Yeah,
who's the anti-bully, who's got his back because Finny tutors him in math.
yeah. And he's not just the anti-bully, he fucking kicks their ass.
Oh yeah,
He's like the little karate kid in this movie.
yeah. He reminds me of Atreyu in Neverending Story.
Yeah, he definitely does. Yeah, he comes in, he kicks their ass, and he's just like, "Look, don't fuck with him. He's my boy. Like, I will I will end you." So there's that tension, which I thought was interesting. And yeah, so it sets up a really intriguing, like, dynamic between all of these characters. And if I remember correctly, all of this character setup happened early on in the movie. It didn't like drag out. It was just like, here's what's going on, all of it at once, right? Because you get the
Oh
story of
yeah,
Robin and the dad and Gwen, all of it in the span of maybe 30 minutes before the main activity, the main action happens. So it's been going around the neighborhood that this guy, the grabber, is kidnapping kids, and then we see it happens immediately to the nice baseball player, Bruce.
yeah. And then Finney's dad gets the call and he's like, "Are you friends with someone named Robin?" And you immediately know what happened.
Yeah.
And again, his performance, Jeremy Davis's performance, when he gets like so sad and he doesn't even tell Finn like the news he just got, but like he plays it so convincingly. We pretty much only seen this guy as a drunken, belligerent asshole, but then we immediately see like he is pretty sensitive
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, you definitely get moments where you can tell, alright, he obviously wants to safeguard his children from all kinds of things, and maybe he's even just afraid of his own inability to do so. Yeah, I really now that I'm thinking about it, he is a pretty complex character, and it's impressive that he was able to just elicit so many different emotions while also giving such a layered performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, good f I'm glad you pointed that out because I I didn't dismiss him, but I didn't really think that deeply about his role. I sort of just thought, "Yeah, yeah, okay, he's the dad in the background who's the parent that doesn't believe what the kids are saying." Um, but yeah, there was more to it, so, that's good, that's food for thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we find out something's gone something's happened to Robin, and does is this where Gwen gets a vision and she goes to tell is this when she first gets a vision and goes to tell the authorities?
Well, they call her in because I think she'd already like they heard her saying things that she shouldn't know about Bruce.
Okay.
And then they called her into the office. They're, like, interviewing her. There's, like, either there's a leak in the precinct and she's like, "Or what? I'm the fucking grabber, you fucking
Yeah.
idiots." It's so funny.
Yeah. No, she she was so good, like, her responses and the other thing that was impressive, I think, is in the face of, you know in my mind, the '70s was just the fucking Wild West. Like, in my head, kids did everyone thinks about people who lived in that era think about it as like, yeah, you could just play out on the street until, the lights went down, and you could do whatever the hell you wanted and blah, blah, blah. I think of it as, like, just this playground that was ripe for the picking for anyone who just wanted to do any kind of crimes, anyone who just wanted to, like, get one over on anyone, anywhere, like, it was just a free for all in my mind, and so to live in that kind of era and to have such a streetwise attitude about things, to me, just felt like, "Wow, she's so brave." Like, I couldn't stop thinking, like, how much I admired this kid for just being I would be scared all the time. I'd be shaking in my boots if I was a kid in that scenario, like, well, you're worrying about school bullying, and you're worrying about your drunk dad beating you up, and all this shit happening in, like, a serial killer snatching kids, and she still is in front of these adults, which at that time, this was the era of kids are seen and not heard, right? This is that era, and she is still like, "You guys are fucking idiots," and I just don't ever see myself being able to, like, to hold that ground in front of authorities at that age, in that time. But it was just very impressive.
I mean, what's also impressive is next when, Finney gets bullied again and Robin is there to save him, Gwenny shows up and starts
Yeah.
whooping some ass.
Yeah, and they beat her up too. Like,
Well, yeah, she does a number on them first. They
that's
pretty much
true.
have to
I no,
beat her up at
I
that
know.
point. They can't just take that from, like, a 10-year-old girl.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah, she's fucking badass. She's just a presence, right? She's extremely assertive, and it's like it's a breath of fresh air, honestly, to have, like, a little girl actress be that role.
Yeah.
And it's her brother who's the one who's indecisive and apprehensive and all the things that I would have been at that age in that time period. But yeah, then, next thing we know, a black van pulls up. Creepy ass
Yep.
Ethan Hawke comes out.
Yep. He says he's a magician, and then Finney gets a look in the van. He's like, "Oh, are those black balloons?" He's like, "Yep, they sure are." And he grabs them, and like Finney's whole head's in the crown of balloons, and then he like wraps it around his neck, and he like sprays some gas or foam in his face. It's pretty visceral.
Yeah, the actual grabbing It was, it was scary. It was very, like, "This is what happened in the '70s." In my head, that's what happened in the '70s. All the
I mean,
time.
yeah, I mean, it kinda was
Yeah.
if you look at if you look at, like, the prevalence of serial killers over time, this was, like, peakity peak.
Yeah, I was completely apropos of nothing today, I was reading about serial killers that were prevalent in the Bay Area around that time and then through the '80s and '90s and stuff, and they were just a lot more than I realized. It was more than the Zodiac killer. It was, like, random people, I found out that, Lisa Rinna, do you know who she is? She's married to Harry Hamlin.
No,
She's, like, a
I
huge
don't know who that is either.
oh, the only thing I know Harry Hamlin from is, that, like, I think it's called, Last the Titans or something. It's like a Greek mythology movie, and she's married to him, and she was like I think she was a model, but she's a huge, like, reality TV presence. Her mother was attacked, and she was a survivor of a serial killer named, David Carpenter in the '70s, and he's, like, still in jail, and he's, like, in his 90s, and he apparently was given the death penalty, but it never was implemented, and there was, like, a moratorium placed on it in the state, so, yeah, shit like this happens all the time, like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of serial killers from this era, I saw that, that Jeremy Davies also played Charles Manson, which is great casting. He totally looks I mean, he looks like him in this movie, but, like, if you
Oh,
did it intentionally, he'd look, like, exactly like Charles Manson.
yeah. Yeah, huh, that's crazy. Yeah, okay. Like I was saying, the '70s seemed like it was some crazy shit.
Yeah,
Happy I wasn't a kid in the '70s. Not that I don't even know if being a kid in New York City in the '90s was any safer, but it
maybe.
feels like it might have been. Maybe, yeah. Okay, so he is grabbed in the way that people got grabbed back then, and
Yep,
he wakes up in a sparsely furnished basement, like, not even
yeah,
furnished. There's, like, a mattress and a phone on the wall that is clearly not shouldn't be in
yeah.
working order. It's obviously disconnected.
And the grabber tells him that he can scream as loud as he wants, and he lets slip. He's like, "No one will hear you." He's like, "He won't hear you." And Finn's like, "Wait, who? He who?" Because the grabber,
Yeah.
his grabbing game is real good, but his talking game's not as good. He's not good at not letting the ball
Yeah.
drop.
You get the sense that he's ill prepared, that this was just an impulsive, and he's not really sure what to do next until his next impulse kicks in, right? And then he'll take action. But in between, he seems like he's almost like a docile guy who's just kind of waiting for the next like dark thing to grip him. One thing I do want to point out about the grabber that I noticed in the movie that I thought was kind of fucking scary. So you never see Ethan Hawke's face. Um, maybe do we see it at the end? I don't think we do, but we
Yeah, I'm
might.
not sure.
So the grabber's played by Ethan Hawke, and I think we never see his face, but he's wearing this fucked up mask that has a big ol' smile, but it's like a demonic smile. And in various scenes, the expression on the
Yeah.
mask changes. And I like kind of lost my shit when I noticed that because I was like, "Wait, this mask looks scarier than the other one. Was it always frowning? No, it's smiling in some of them. It's frowning in others. It is making, like, different expressions, and it's just crazy that he, like, changes them."
It reminds me of the mayor of Halloween Town. Like, "Let me just put on my happy
Oh, yeah,
face real
yeah.
quick." And he also has one with no mouth, which is, like, the creepiest one, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's got a collection of these masks, and he exchanges them every time he comes down to the basement.
Well, it comes apart, I think. There's, like, the top half, and then he's got, like, modular expressions that he puts on the bottom half.
Oh, okay, it's not just a single mask. Okay, got it. Yeah, I think I do remember that, but it's wild. And Ethan Hawke has uh, I am like floored by this whole thing because he was so scary. He was so like just well played and so convincing. He was this like half the when he wasn't the grabber, he was just this pathetic guy who like clearly had some kind of like mental health history problems and or
Yeah.
a history of mental health problems, and he, obviously, again, it's the '70s, so he's clearly untreated and probably not noticed and never diagnosed, and so he's just been left to indulge in all of the things the voices in his head tell him he should be doing.
Yeah. This is a really different role for Ethan Hawke. He usually plays pretty, like, reserved characters, kinda like an
Yeah.
everyman or, like, a regular dad, or
Yeah.
you don't really see him, like, let go like this. It's almost like something you'd expect from Nick Cage with, like, the voices he does.
Yeah. I actually thought that too, because I was like, in my mind, I think of Ethan Hawke as like he's a pretty good actor. Like, I don't think there's anything that I have ever been like, "Ugh, Ethan Hawke," and I just didn't like it. No, I think of him as, like, he's a solid guy. He's good at what he does. I don't know if there's anything that's ever been, like, super stand out to me about him. Like, I really liked Gattaca, but, that I don't know if that was because of him or because of just the movie itself. But, yeah, I feel like this is probably one of the first things that he's done that he has had to kinda show this different emotional range. But I was very impressed with it. He was so scary.
Yeah. So, the phone rings, even though it shouldn't, and when Finney picks up, it's another boy on the other end, and he doesn't know who he is. He says the name is the first thing that goes.
Yeah, the kid doesn't know who he is.
But then, I think he says he was playing baseball, that was the last thing he remembered, so he's like, "Oh, you're Bruce."
Yeah. Yeah, Finney makes the connection that he's talking to the kid Bruce. Yeah, and you get all these snippets of what's happening without being told what's happening. Like, you just understand, okay, you understand a lot in the span of, like, 15 seconds that A, Bruce was grabbed by the grabber, B, he's dead, C, he's communicating through the phone, and also Finney has the ability to perceive what he's being told by someone who's dead. Also ghosts are real. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's communicated in a very short amount of time. And so having that foundation laid, that's our stepping stone for the rest of the movie, right? Because now we know anytime the phone rings, it's either Bruce or another ghost. Or
Yeah.
anytime the phone rings, it's either Bruce or another voice, and you know that the voice is someone that has been killed.
Yeah.
And we assume by the grabber, another one of the grabber's victims. And he gets a bunch of calls from all of these kids. And it's funny because it sort of plays on the same theme at the beginning where the kids are sort of sticking together in a kind of way. You have
Yeah.
Robin who's protecting him, and there's obviously bullying happening, but there's also kind of a sense of we're all kids and we stick together. And that is echoed in this scene where he's getting calls from the different voices that are basically telling him, "We didn't get away, but you're gonna get away and we're gonna help you." Um, and I forget all of the different kids that he speaks to. I know he talks to Robin. He also talks to some kid named Billy. Um,
Yeah, one of them
eh,
was like a paper boy, and I don't think we actually met him before.
yeah. And then there's an older kid who's, like, angry.
Yeah. Each kid that calls gives him basically a little bit about what's going on and what happened, and they also give him, like, some advice about what he needs to do.
Yeah, because it turns out they each did something different to try to get away. And it didn't fail. It failed ultimately because the one step in progress that they each made wasn't enough for them to individually get out, but now they have an aggregate of knowledge and they're giving it to Finney to hopefully use.
So he's trying all these things. He's like digging in one direction, and he's like got this carpet rolled up and all these things that didn't work. And they also tell him, don't play his game. You can't lose if you don't play his game. And he wants Finney to be the naughty child so he can discipline him.
Yeah. He leaves the door open at one point. Like, the grabber comes to the basement and he leaves the door open, and so Finney obviously wakes up and is like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do, I'm leaving," but then the phone rings and he's like, "Don't do it, it's a trap." Because the second you go up there, you are now reframed as a naughty kid, and that gives him permission to, like, beat the crap out of you. So, that's your warning. Like, so it's kind of it's interesting, and I liked all of this stuff because I felt like it was very, like, tension building because you're like, "Okay,
Yeah.
what's the next piece of advice? What's the next step in this solving this puzzle?"
Yeah. It's like he's gonna put together the Rube Goldberg machine to escape.
Yeah, and then also, little by little, you learn more about the room itself. Like, one of the ghosts tells him that you can, like, chip through the wall, and there's, like, a freezer on the other side.
Yeah.
And you I mean, you don't know any of this, and he would never have known this on his own, but, he's led to this location, and it just it's essentially, we watch him go through the steps to try each thing, and it kind of I think everything kind of fails a little bit, but he makes a tiny bit more progress than they did.
Yeah.
And in the background, he has disappeared and Gwen is now having dreams about him.
Yeah. And that leads the police to be investigating, and they talk to this guy, Max, and Max is like, "I've been waiting for this," and he shows them his cork board with all his theories. He's like, "I put together all this stuff." And they're like, "Yeah, that's okay. That's nice, Max. Have a nice
Yeah.
day."
Yeah, they're like, he's just a kook, whatever. He's a kook who's clearly sitting here doing coke all day, and he's just wound up. Yeah, that I think for me, that was the one part of the movie where I was like, "Wait, are you kidding me?" Because Max ends up being the grabber's brother, and the cops walk into the damn house where the kid's being held. And it's one of those this is really in sync with our theme of, like, the cops being incompetent. Although I do think in this situation, I give them a bit of a pass because their conclusion was maybe reasonable, but they still probably should have searched the place a little bit more. And they weren't just being complete idiots here. They just made a bad call. But I was like, "Wait, what? Is he really in this? Is this really where he is?" And you find out later on, yeah, this is where he is.
Yeah, so memories are weird because I remembered Max being played by Ted Raimi, and I know why my brain mixed
Oh,
this up, and it's because I was playing a game at the same time where Ted Raimi plays a brother to a guy who, well, he ends up being a werewolf, and
okay.
he's like, so that, and also in Twin Peaks, Ted Raimi plays like this metalhead who's all coked out and kinda acts like Max, so my brain kinda
Oh,
combined those and just recast this guy as Ted Raimi.
that's funny. I don't think he was anyone I knew.
So he was James Ransome, who unfortunately just committed suicide. He was also in It Chapter 2.
Wait, the actor who played the
Yeah, the
guy
actor who
Max?
played Max, like, committed suicide, I think, like, a month ago.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so he was in It Chapter 2? Okay, as one of the kids as an adult, maybe?
Yeah, and he looks, like, exactly like the kid, but grown up.
Really?
It's really good casting.
Oh, yeah, that's a bummer to hear about him. Okay, so now we sort of know well, we're not told immediately that he's there. We're just shown
Yeah.
this particular thing, and there's some wacko who's got this cork board of all the possibilities.
After that scene, I think we just pan down into the basement and show that Finney is down there. 'Cause I think it's kinda like almost a comedic moment where the cops dismiss him, and then we immediately see that Finney was right under their nose.
So is it that I actually do not remember. Is it that we see, or does it pan out to show the front of the house, and that's what Gwen has been having dreams about? It could be either or. I actually do not know. I don't
But
remember the
isn't
answer.
she having dreams about the house across the street?
Yeah, so I wasn't clear about that. Was she not having dreams about the actual house? Because I think because there was a little bit of confusion about that when the police were at his house. I was thinking, "Oh, it's right across the street from you, guy, like, you're so close."
So I think the kids were buried in the house across the street, but Finn was
Oh.
in that house.
Okay, okay. Yeah. I was confused at first because I did think that she was seeing visions of the house across the street, but at some point she sees the visions of that house too? No?
I'm not sure.
No, actually, never mind. She only sees the visions of the house across the street. And because at the very end, Finn comes out of Max's house and sees them all congregated in that house across the street because they find the bodies. But yeah, so Gwen is having these visions again. She's getting information that the police are not releasing to the public. And so they essentially pull her in as a person of interest, but they kind of believe her slash don't believe her. But like, what harm can it do to investigate what she's saying? Surprisingly logical for police in a thing like that, in a movie like this, like to say we don't quite believe you, but you're saying some things that we think we should investigate, or we should at least listen to what you're saying a little bit and see if there's any connections.
Yeah. She ends up giving them the address to the house where all the bodies are.
Yeah. And so while this is happening, Finney is getting his encouragement and his advice from all of these ghosts in the past. And I think that it kind of transitions from a horror movie about kids getting abducted by this really creepy guy to we're confronted by this creepy guy and how's he going to get away from him? And then it turns into a moment of you can do it and all the ghost kids are going to help you. And I mean, it's still like this, the still horror, but it kind of took a bit of a hopeful turn, I think.
Yeah. At one point, he's pretty much failed and he's like all dejected. And that's when Max discovers him. And he's like, oh man. And he's going to set him free. And then right behind him, the grabber comes up and like puts an axe in his head. And then
Yeah.
he's like, you made me kill my own brother. He was
Yeah.
an idiot, but he was my idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not expecting that, to be honest.
No.
I didn't think he was gonna kill that guy. I also wasn't sure if he really was his brother, but then he says it and I was like, "Oh, that's terrible, like, fuck." And that guy did all the work and then finally proved that he was right, and I don't know,
But
that felt so, like, hollow, I guess.
Max got a raw deal.
Yeah, he did. He got a bum deal. Then, okay, where are we now after he kills Max?
At this point, if he's about to finish off Finn, but Finn lures him into a trap. He like the carpet, he steps in the carpet and he like falls through the floor. And then
Yeah.
Finn had previously been instructed to pack the phone with dirt. And they're like, this is the last time we'll be able to talk to you, but pack this phone with dirt. And he does that. And he uses it like a flail and just beats the shit out of him and then strangles him
Yeah.
with it. And Finney's a hero.
Yeah. But he goes from being like this mild-mannered kid who's never like hurt anybody to just straight up killing this man. Like he kills him. It was a hard scene to watch. Well, first of all, I find it I struggle with scenes where people are strangled and they're it's drawn out, right? Like we saw it in Us, and I was like, "Oh my
Oh,
god, it's
yeah.
just it's a lot where they're showing people being strangled and the slow, torturous act of them being strangled to death." So he does that with him, and he's got this phone cord, and it's like, "Kid, this is I am literally watching trauma unfold in your world. I'm watching this because, like, in any other situation, you could. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak to whether it would be worse if he was just found by the police and the grabber was arrested and it was like way less violent than this. But I think, and I mean, I would say I probably have a little more insight having watched the second movie that this is a huge thing that it ends with him killing him, you know? So, yeah, he, kills him and then makes his way out, and at some point, one of the ghosts had given him the combination to the lock. He gets out, he tries the combination, it works, and when he walks outside, he sees his sister and the police who were across the street investigating the house that she had led them to.
But then the last scene is Finney walking down the hall, and everyone's like, "That's the kid who killed the grabber," and they're like, "What, him?" And
Yeah.
they all think he's the shit, and then he sits next to his crush, and he's like, "Yeah, call me Finn."
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he goes from being Finny to Finn. Okay, so now that we've talked about it a bunch, and now that we've talked it through, I'm thinking like I forgot how tense it was to watch. I forgot how I was kind of holding my breath at certain moments in the movie, and how we didn't see him setting up this trap. We didn't know it was gonna work. And at one point, there's a dog, and when he breaks into the freezer, he finds like
Like a
uh
frozen steak or
yeah,
something,
like
right?
steak chops or something, and he takes one out, and so I guess he thaws it, I don't know, but when the dog comes in to kind of set him straight, he throws it to the dog, and that kind of gives him he has a distraction for the dog, and then you think he's gonna run. I forget. There's times where we think something's gonna happen or he's gonna take one course of action, and then he doesn't. So, when
Yeah.
he's backed into that freezer section, it's super tense because you're like, "Oh my god, what is gonna happen?" And then the grabber falls into the trap he set. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's like each part of the plan he set up was a previously failed part of a failed plan. So
Yeah.
we don't really know what all these pieces are that we think they didn't work, but they all come together in the end.
Yeah, because there's another part where he's trying to open a window, and one kid is kinda telling him, "Hey, if you do it this way, you can open the window." And then he's not able to do that. The window's, like, 15 feet above his head, and so he's, like, jumping, trying
Yeah.
to do it, and I forget exactly what happens, but he fails to the point where he can't even replicate that attempt. But, yeah, so on the whole, I really, really liked this movie. I thought it was very effective. I also know that it's based on a book written by Joe King,
Joe
right?
Hill.
Joe Hill. Isn't he Joe King?
That's his birth name, but he goes by
Yeah,
Joe
his
Hill because he doesn't want to live in his father's shadow, even though
no,
he's a
I
horror author
understand.
who looks exactly like his father.
Yeah, 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 that's yes. Um, but yeah, okay. Either way, my immediate thought was, I think I like this better than some adaptations of Stephen King books. And I
Yeah.
know that there are some
Yeah.
really amazing ones. The Shining comes to mind, Misery comes to mind, obviously. But I think this is, like, on par with that. In terms of content, in terms of, like, how scary this was, how much it built on the characters, and I've never read the book, so I don't know if the characters were this well developed. I'll just say maybe they hopefully they were, but I was way more uh, I guess, moved by this than I have been with a Stephen King adaptation in a very long time. In fact, the last one I watched was with you, and it was terrible. No, no, not The Long Walk. The one we watched in theaters. It's like we just watched The Long Walk, but the one we watched in theaters, and it was awful. And I can't remember which one.
Boogeyman?
Me. Yes.
Well, that was
Yes.
forever ago.
Yeah, I know. But I think
We also
before The
watched
Long
In the
Walk.
Tall Grass.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, never mind. I guess we encounter Stephen King adaptations more than we realize. More than
Yeah.
I realize at least, but, I liked this better than In the Tall Grass.
Yeah, I liked it better than In the Tall Grass or Boogeyman. And like I said, I wish this is basically all the strengths of this are what I wish It 2017 was more like.
Yeah, which again, I it's funny because you are saying that this is better than this Stephen King adaptation that you're
Yeah,
talking about, like,
exactly. You know what else we watched was that Pet Cemetery prequel.
oh, yeah,
That was
we
terrible.
did. Man, we're just plagued by Stephen King adaptations, aren't we?
Yeah, maybe we should do all the good ones to get the taste of some of these out of our mouth.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've watched another, Joe Hill adaptation. I'd probably seen more than probably watched more than one, but one that comes to mind is Horns. Have you seen
Oh,
Horns?
yeah, that was a great one, yeah.
I fucking loved that movie.
Yeah, you can't lose with Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, you can't. I love him so much. So, yeah, I don't know. I have all the good things to say about this. I really liked it, and, I am excited to hear what you have to say when you watch the second one. Anything you wanna add?
Um, no, just that, I'll be watching this director's career because what I've seen from him has been all positive, so he's really great at directing a strong atmosphere and his actors.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go watch Sinister again
Yeah,
because yeah, because now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like I did sort of watch it and just pushed it aside because my attention was grabbed by Insidious and The Conjuring and all of those movies. A lot of that stuff was happening around the same time, so I definitely think I might have made the
it
mistake
was an
of sleeping.
oversaturated genre then.
It really yeah, I guess it kind of was. But yeah, I think I slept on Sinister and I wanna see it again.
Alright.
But okay, are you, ready to rate?
Yeah, think I'll give this a 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4, and I gave it a 4 in my Letterboxd review, and I think that even in that, I didn't even talk about some of the stuff that I kinda realized in this conversation, but even without any of those realizations, I still thought this was, like, very well done. So, awesome. Okay, do we have, a plan for next week? What are we watching?
I'll be watching Black Phone 2.
Okay. Okay, so we'll continue this discussion with Black Phone 2 then. That sounds awesome.
Alright, until next time.
Okay, until next time. This podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share Alike 4.0 International License. For additional information and other media content, visit theferalthread.com. Thanks for listening. Until next week.